Well, I think this is the 5th video that I've recorded in the last month or so, and the first 4 did not make it, so I like the thoughts that I was trying to share, and I feel like they're worth sharing. There's kind of this like window of time where I feel feel compelled to share something, to record it, and then to upload it. And if I don't do it during that feeling, which usually only lasts about a day, then it's not likely that it will ever happen. And that's okay. This is kind of mostly for me to just externalize what I'm thinking about. It always feels like I'm talking to my past self when I share these thoughts. Like I have this echo of who I've been in my experience of ignorance of something, or I guess it feels like ignorance because I'll have a moment of insight and think oh, me a year ago or a month ago would have loved to hear that and benefited from it. So that is the specter my imagination relates to when I feel this desire to share what I'm thinking with the intention of being of service to the listener. Anyway, I'm thinking about alignment and how that word and that concept, like any and all words and concepts, is a bit of a paradox, because on one side it makes sense and it's logical, and there are a lot of people out there reporting, myself included, and yourself I'm sure as well, that to engage with the manifestation practices, and I don't even mean that in an energetic or spiritual way, but just manifesting your vision by laying out a plan and committing to do it every day, that kind of thing. Or if you believe in more far out ideas, the visualization and Neville Goddard stuff and all of that, then that too. But the thing with all of that and how much it really contradicts the core of spirituality, at least in my understanding of these things, as they've been told to me, and I've kind of tried to line myself up in a way where I can observe reality in a way to draw similar conclusions in my own way. Spirituality is about understanding the truth of yourself and reality, and from that progression of understanding of truth, coming closer to whatever truth is or means, then we can start to teach ourselves the art of living in a way that also allows us to incorporate other systems that are also teaching that in a way that it has a lot of clarity and is guided by sort of a perspective of wisdom that we can really count on. So one of these things being that to have grasping for something beyond what is a rejection of what is, and because of the nature of what we are and what reality is, that kind of reaching towards that which is not creates suffering and a sense of separation and a sense of growing pain that we don't realize comes from the search that we are engaged in, oftentimes to, or in response to that pain. So we hopefully eventually play the game enough of goals, ambition. Once I get this, then I'll feel this, and then it will be okay. Enough. And we have enough moments of experiencing and realizing that we have all of what is required right now to feel exactly what we need and want most to feel right now and always, because we are the source of those things. The deepest reward that exists for living is also what is living. And it can veil that sense of inherent reward from itself by acting in such a way that deeply communicates to itself that this is not it. And so I am going to also, in order to be coherent with that decision, not feel the reality of my receptivity to that reward of joy and peace and contentedness, and the capacity to kind of surf every wave of every experience in a way that makes each experience rich and beautiful. And so when it is seen that the game of material pursuit and spiritual pursuit, which are two twin objects that call forward the same maladaptive programming from us to pursue them, then we are able to reawaken to a more authentic way of doing things that feels really good. And from that place of sort of realization of freedom and power, we can then, continue to do whatever we want to do. And this time there's a bit of a lightness to it. And there's not that same drive of necessity to achieve the objects of our focus. And then desire is able to continue forward without the misunderstanding of what it does, why it does it, where it's going, and how that all works. And so I think the core of the higher understanding, let's say, is that everything is right now. Everything happens now. Every moment that's ever been experienced, that ever will be experienced, happens right now in the field that we call right now. We use the words past and future to reference things that are far away in our experience of right now. But even if it's 10 years in the past, we're experiencing and referencing the memory of that that's happening right now. And depending on what your take is on spirituality and physics and other things, all moments in time are happening simultaneously in the same place anyway. Spatial dimension, temporal dimensions are illusions created by our brains. And I think that we are kind of like a 4 or 5 or higher dimensional consciousness experiencing like a flip book version of reality, so it can feel like it's 3D happening in sequence, but it just somehow was able to chop it up that way. And so anyway, it's all right now, right? And so it doesn't exclude the ability to be in like alignment with this understanding and like nature of things to pursue something that requires a progression towards the result. It's just that it is seen that it is possible, that it works to do that in a way where every moment of that journey you are simultaneously or kind of exclusively focusing on what can I be doing right now that is equal in its desirability to this finale that I'm moving towards. And if I follow this strategy, I can in fact trust that it will work as well as any other strategy of like hustle and grind. And in fact, I may come to find that it is the best possible way to go about this. And my experience is that it is. So, what an interesting idea that I can set a goal of something that I really want, that I'm really excited about, and then I can set a path to that goal where every step is something that I'm really excited about and that I really want to do. And I can trust that that path will carry me well. Like the thing to me about doing it that way too is I'm in constant contact with the experience of fulfillment of desire, which is an ever evolving thing. It's always changing, especially as I come into contact with it in a way that feels complete to me. And so if I'm evolving my desire through the successful fulfillment of it in experience, I'm also evolving me. And so I'm going through the journey of evolution towards a larger goal in a way that is still growing what I am and allowing me to be receptive to the feedback of change of my desire, of myself, of my environment, in a way that gives me the flexibility to also change that goal or change courses. And because I'm not conditionally dependent on reaching that goal specifically, otherwise everything I'm doing isn't worth it, and it's the only thing that matters, and so I have to push through even when it becomes compromising or when it feels wrong, and maybe does become wrong, because that's not the paradigm I'm existing in. I can have that flexibility and be available to the opportunities and the surprises that life throws my way, positive or negative, and I can incorporate those things into my journey in a way that is continuing to be cumulatively beneficial towards the end, which is, at the end of the day, there's the symbol of what I'm going for in terms of how I describe the result. But what I'm going for is a feeling of completion and other qualities that can be found in any symbol that I project them onto. And I never have to lose the momentum that is created by passion, desire, and excitement. And so I'm leveraging all of my deepest and most natural strengths, the things that are intrinsically generated. And so I'm also, in a way, kind of sourcing from a more unconditional fountain of energy towards my goal. And I'm able to do it playfully because it's not so serious, because I'm not so strictly dependent on it needing to turn out a certain way. And so I don't have to control things so tightly as I normally would in the more kind of conditional and maybe more traditional way of looking at this. So I think it makes a lot of sense, regardless of like how hippie, far out, woo, spiritual, whatever you look at this. I think this is cognitively, neuroscientifically, psychologically congruent. And I think that it is because it's drawing from things that act as fundamental qualities of reality that we can't discount or ignore. And so it's pretty safe to treat them as a higher truth than the idea of things like space and time. And a fixed identity that has fixed desires and fixed ambitions. It may have deeper and more structurally sound qualities of how like we express ourselves, and those might not change ever or very slowly, but the way that they express can always change. And if you haven't figured that out by now, I think it might be a big reason why you might be stuck in whatever area you feel stuck in life, whether that's something that you feel like you're really suffering through, or like you don't feel like you've found like your thing yet. I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's everything I